Hey there, thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Ann Perry, and my special guest today is Heather Drummond. Hey Heather, how are you?
Great, Ann. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really
Like,
excited to speak to your group.
well, I've been excited to have you in the group. It's really my pleasure for sure. Heather and I have known each other for quite a while. We're both up in Canada. Heather's in New Brunswick, so she's in Moncton, New Brunswick, and so we met up there like several years ago during an event that I was doing up there. So Heather has agreed to come in and do a talk for us in our live event for the Master Number 11 group. And that's going to be hosted on Sunday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So you need to join the membership if you want to attend this. And this is like, even if you attend for just 1 month, man, you're going to hear this. This is incredible. She's going to be talking about how can the energetically sensitive 11s thrive under stress. Now, this is not going to be your typical talk about, stress at work and stress in my family and things like that. This is going to be very specific to Master Number 11s, okay? So Heather, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got involved in this, and how can you help the 11s?
Yes, well, I didn't know I was working with 11s until we got together.
Yeah.
It's been incredible to actually see how much what I've been doing has been targeted at Master 11s. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've worked in the corporate world for 14 years and literally in the holistic industry for 14 years. So I'm right down the middle as far as experiencing both sides. I started out just with the School of Natural Nutrition, and then I did a lot of different trainings in energy medicine and orthomolecular medicine and Bach flower remedies, acupuncture. I was just in this learning, I don't know, I've got some 7 in me, so I'm on this learning path. And then I created my own process in person, working with people, doing a health assessment, which looks at how to help people physically, emotionally, energetically, mentally, and spiritually. And just recently, I've been called to put that toolbox together in an online tool that will help more people than just working with people either through Zoom or one person at a time. So I'm really thrilled to be able to give some of your group some of those tools as we work together in this upcoming event on the 23rd.
And someone has a chance to win your toolbox.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So everybody, you need to know that Heather is a naturopath who encompasses so much of this energetic, the energetic healing modalities. So,
yeah, absolutely. And so when people work on me one-on-one, sometimes it's covered through benefits if they've got naturopathic coverage, and sometimes it's not. But in the toolbox or the online world, obviously, unfortunately, there's no coverage. But I've managed to work with the developer to develop a quiz very similar to what I would be doing in the one-on-one, that honed down what in that 23 tools is actually going to be beneficial for that person at that moment. So a lot of those tools are anything working from the emotional aspect to the energetic aspect, helping people deal with past experiences, helping people deal with self-esteem issues, helping people who are feeling stressed or conflicted or scattered, somebody who is in a state of having a ton of mental activity and just unable to get out of that spin. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can work with your 11s and give them some tools to manage their stress from a energetic place.
So Heather, you work from a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, which is something that I feel a lot of the 11s haven't delved into enough. It's, the 11s quite often will suffer from depression. They suffer from anxiety. They have feelings that they're not good enough. They have feelings like this is not their planet, that somehow they've been dropped here and they quite don't know how they fit in. So what I love about your program is that, to me, it says you are finding a way to put the tools back into their hands. Every time we go to the medical community, for example, and no disrespect, I mean, it's all good and everything has its place, right? But many times we get lost in that and we lose our power because we have to follow everybody else's orders. And it doesn't allow for the intuitive body to kick in to say, hey, this is what I need, or this is what I don't need. And whereas the 11s are so incredibly intuitive anyways, why not teach them how to tune into it better to use it to their advantage?
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, one of the toolkits is to get people to tune in more to their intuition, and it could be from asking for a sign, or it could be actually being more present in their own body. One of the ways that we're going to be talking about in the live event is how being flat can help you be a little bit more present, and how it can support your physical body from the adrenal perspective. Our sympathetic and parasympathetic systems can be in overdrive, in that we're always go, go, go like the caveman.
Yeah.
Being flat and turning off the stress that we have in our minds. I don't know. I think those 11s can be a little bit mentally active. Is that
You
not?
think? True enough.
We've got this thing called the Gall Bladder meridian that starts at our eyebrows, and how many people get tension headaches, that run across this area. Starts at our eyebrows, runs across our brain several times, and lands on those two little divots where our skull actually attached to our spine.
Yes.
And it runs down on these traps here, and how many people, this is their stress zone.
Head, neck, and shoulders all the way.
You're up, right? And I call it a waiter tray. We're doing a waiter tray of mental activity, and we could have a bubble of mental activity just on those waiter trays, and it can be stuck there, and it can just perpetuate. And so one of the activities that we're going to be explaining to people is how to do a gallbladder release, which actually is going to literally relax those muscles and release that mental activity, so that people can have possibly a better presence in their job, help them go to sleep, help them relax and manage their life in a way that isn't filled with this excessive mental activity.
Right. So the fact that and I'm guilty of that, right? I have a hard time. I'm gonna have to stop saying that. In the past, I had difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep, and partly because I'm living in the future. I'm not living in the moment, right? That's when this happens, when the anxiety builds up. That's when it happens. So if I understand this correctly, doing the gallbladder exercise that you will be teaching us in our live event is going to help us to calm down and to be able to be more in the present rather than projecting into the future. Because anxiety lives in the future, guys, right? And the regret lives in the past. So the only place that we can invoke a change or make a difference is right here in the present. Right. So the trick is to try and get in the present. Now, you said something about, working with the gallbladder meridian and also staying flat. And when we first talked about this, I wasn't quite sure what you meant, but now I get it. Because I remember when I had a yoga instructor, and she came to me and gave me private yoga lessons in my home. And one of the yoga poses was simply to lie on my back on the floor and just to release. And you would think that would be so easy, but it wasn't for me. I had a really hard time allowing myself to just relax and let myself drift into the floor. And I realized it was because I was hanging on too hard, and I wasn't trusting. And I'm a 7, right? So 7s with an 11 growth number, we have an issue with trust. So I was having a hard time trusting that the floor was going to support me, and it was hugely liberating for me to realize that. So I have to work very hard to lie on the floor and just let go.
Well, and we can use any surface.
Yes.
Before we started this, actually, about your earthing mat, right?
Yes.
Being flat is another way to earth and actually release all the electromagnetic frequencies that we pick up in the run of the day just by living in our houses.
Yeah.
So not only are we letting go of that zingy feeling, but we're also turning on that parasympathetic system, which is the system which is your rest and digest and heal system. We're psyching out that system that's on overdrive just by being flat. So
okay, and so it's such a simple thing, which all the tools, it sounds to me like all the 23 tools that are in your online toolbox, that's exactly what they're designed to be. It's super simple and very empowering. I'm all over that.
Yeah.
So the second one we're going to be talking about will be closing the door on past experiences. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, those 11s are old souls.
Yes.
old souls can be triggered really easily. I call it like, if the event that happens warrants an 8 out of 10 reaction, an old soul will have an 88 out of 10 reaction potentially, because those doors to the past lives are open, and sometimes future experiences are open too, because we're on this time.
Right. Yeah.
Time.
Right.
So the closing door exercise actually brings their energy into the present, so that they can just experience that 8 out of 10 as opposed to the 88 out of 10.
Right.
And that helps in dealing with stress so many different ways, because you're not actually feeling the emotion on overdrive, and you're not actually experiencing all those traumas over and over again.
Yeah, I love it.
Because
anything we give our attention, energy, and focus to is going to get bigger, so we might as well focus on what we want rather than what we don't.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And just that simple exercise of closing the door, which we'll get into the details, but again, it's super simple. It can be done in less than 30 seconds. It can be done on any door that you walk through.
Wow.
And sometimes, because the old souls are so used to living in that expanded state, that they do have to train their energy to be in the now more.
Right.
So there is some repetition to having to retrain the energy to behave in a healthier way.
Right.
So with a few of the tools that are in the toolbox, there is some repetition of that to train. I call it training the dog to pee outside, basically.
Yeah.
We need to create those healthy behaviors when we've had unhealthy behaviors energetically for so long. So that's a tool in itself that can augment the power of so many of the other tools in the toolbox with the old souls that the 11's are.
Love it.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun to share. It's going to be fun to share that one, because it's super easy.
And then the last one would be the power of ranting. Love it.
I know, ranting.
I put this, I thought, damn, I can do this.
Yes. And I always give Mr. Rick Mercer, our Canadian Newfoundland comedian, credit for this one, because he did it regularly on his weekly show for a minute at a time, where he would just pick an event that happened in the news over the previous week and rant to the particular person involved in that particular news event. He did it in front of all of us on television, which is different than my exercise, obviously, but mine's a little bit more private.
But the principle's the same.
But the principle is exactly the same, and how empowering it can be to support a situation and diffuse the stress of the matter while releasing your own stress in the process of doing the exercise. Because so often we chew our words and we don't actually speak them, and then they just go from here to here. They go right from this spot up to this spot. Sometimes it'll go down into our chest region, our belly, and we'll make us, or it will hang out with thyroid disorder, depending how old those words are.
Chew right through the bite planes.
Chew right through your bite plate. And so just being able to express yourself in a safe environment without a filter, and be able to do it in an effective manner that a lot of times creates a change in the situation or the environment, sometimes extremely quickly, to improve the whole situation and diffuse the stress. I call it almost like putting gravel down on the road before you pave it. Sometimes the people who receive the rant need to hear it once or twice before their ego is receptive to what you may have to say out loud to them. But the ranting gives you practice. It allows you to get your emotions out in a safe environment, and then allows you to be the logical, unemotional person expressing it to that other party, because you've had this safe space to be able to express yourself in private.
Because, 11s typically have a fear of confrontation, and they have a fear of rejection. Because an 11 at the end of the day is a 2. 2s need partnership, right? So they struggle between wanting all that independence and wanting the partnership, and where do they fit. And so quite often they're a little on the shyer side. They don't really like to express themselves. That might cause confrontation. So I love this, and this is more than, because you and I talked about this before we got recording this today. I love this because it gives the 11s the opportunity to rant in a safe environment. Now we all know that. You can all scream at your pillow, you can punch your pillow. I mean, that's old news, right? But what Heather's going to be talking about is how does this affect the person that you're ranting about energetically? How effectively can we evoke change just by doing that without even having to face them head on? You can have the power with which to make a really healthy change. So that's going to be something that you'll be elaborating on in the live event.
Absolutely.
So this all sounds very exciting. I'm super pumped. I want to make sure that everybody knows that you're at www.healingvitality.ca. That's not .com, it's .ca. Okay, so you can check her out there. She's got a mailing list you can sign up for. Heather's also got a 17-minute, what you call it, meditation to Zen?
Yeah, 17 minutes to Zen. It's a guided meditation / toolbox of 3 other tools that people have to increase their Zen ability, involving, I think you need an orange, a glass of water, and an open mind. So
perfect. I've got all those.
Yeah, I know.
So we can just go to the website and they can click on the link there and they can receive that through their email.
Yeah, and I will give you a link to that you can put in your Facebook group as well.
Perfect. Awesome.
Where you want to share this video, you can attach it to this commercial if you like.
Okay, excellent. I can certainly do that. So just to reiterate again, Heather is going to be our guest in the Master Number 11 membership portal. That's going to be on Sunday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You need to be a member of the membership. This is not just the Facebook group. This is the membership group. It's $11 a month. You can join for 1 month just to listen to Heather and then quit if you want. I can't imagine why you'd want to, because $11 gets you opportunity to talk to Heather live on a Zoom chat and myself. So it's going to be a live conversation. We'll all be able to share whatever we want to share and ask all kinds of questions. And this is what happens every month in the Master Number 11 membership. I believe that one of the other topics that we'll be talking about, not this particular event, but coming up, will be on narcissism and how to handle the narcissists in your lives. Master Number 11s notoriously seem to attract narcissists. Let's find out why, and let's learn some tools and tips and tricks on how to work with them so that they don't steal our power any longer. Anyway, thank you so much, Heather. I so appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you. I'm so blessed that we've connected in this way.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming, but I'm excited for it. And so I look forward to seeing you guys in the Master Number 11 membership, Sunday, February 23rd, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there. Love you guys. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye.